Alright guys, jumping right into this video. You see the title of the video. So we're starting on freshly washed hair, and I do have a leave-in in my hair. I have the Strands of Faith Holy Grail collection leave-in conditioner in my hair, and I love that leave-in conditioner. So if you guys haven't seen that video, make sure you check the description box for that link. And this video is not going to be so much as a tutorial as it is going to be a review. There are tons of tutorials on the the Curlformers out right now. I just kind of wanted to review the dupe for you guys. I did have and use the original brand years and years ago, and I will talk to you guys about the difference in that versus this. So here I'm just showing you guys how I installed them. Another thing that you'll find on the reason why this is not a tutorial, because you'll see numerous times in this video that I had like real problems installing these, and it had a combination to do with not only just how I feel about like these curling tools in general, but also just how I feel about the cheap version. So here I'm just gonna let you guys kind of watch as I struggle and kind of put these in, and then just make sure that you stay tuned to the very end and check out my review. Almost immediately I started having problems with the handle of this dupe. As you can see, every time I went to pull it, the third part of the handle would just kind of go ahead and slide right off. The handle comes in like 3 different compartments to make it, I guess, like storable. But all that did was make it super easy for it to pull apart every time I tried to install a curl in my head. So I ended up trying to super glue or hot glue gun the third end of the handle to my Curlformers, and even that didn't work, and it was just like it was a huge hassle. I'm just gonna sit this here and let you guys see how many times I struggled just to install this one roller. And it wasn't like this for my entire head. I will go ahead and be honest and say that I didn't struggle this much with every section of my entire head. In fact, the other side of my head went by like a breeze. Like I didn't have any problems at all. But when the struggle happened, like the struggle was real, and it literally just got to the point where I was just like, I need a break. Like this whole installation literally made me need to smoke. Like it was ridiculous. So all I did was finish installing the rollers. I did sit under my hooded dryer for about 45 minutes, and then I put on my satin cap and let it air dry overnight. So it's the next day, and all I'm gonna do is remove the rollers. And to remove the rollers, all you do is squeeze the top to kind of loosen it, and then you just extend and pull the roller out. And there was no real way to tell if my hair was dry or not, so I just kind of had to go ahead and just hope for the best and pull them all apart. And then like once I pulled them apart, you just kind of have to make sure that you twirl your hair in the direction that it was rolled. These definitely were way softer of curls than I would get from like perm rod sets, but the curls seem to form pretty good. And one thing that I didn't mention when I was installing the rollers is that the dupe version, like the cheap version of them, they're all the same length. They just go in different directions depending on the color. So I really did like that, because I was able to install my rollers like just different colors next to each other so that my curls will all be going in different directions. And that just helps to give your hair extra volume, especially if you have fine hair like me. I have super fine hair, so anything that will help my hair get some additional volume, I'm all for. So I'm just gonna pick it out, and I will come and talk to you guys how I feel about these dupes. Alright guys, so these are the final results, and I think they're gorgeous. So now let's go ahead and talk about the pros and the cons with this product. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, these are what the rollers look like. I got this at a local beauty supply store. Before y'all say, you know, you couldn't find it, this was just in a local beauty supply store, y'all. But it was for $11.99, and it does have the hook included. Curlformers have been around for a long time, but I guess they have just recently started selling them in Target, because for a long time they were like exclusively in Sally's, but I guess just recently they like revamped their brand and started selling them more accessibly in Target and things like that. So there was this like big, I guess, like media like revamp, and so a lot of people had started back using the Curlformers. I had the original Curlformers probably, I would say, it had to be at least 5 years ago. I got them when I first went natural. Last time I remember seeing those Curlformers was probably at least 2 years ago, and I remember when I looked at them thinking, oh, I might as well just throw those away because I don't ever use them and it just was a waste of my money. I remember with the original Curlformers for it being a huge learning curve to these rollers. I don't know if it's just me. To this day, I have still only watched 2 tutorials on it, which was Mahogany Curls and Natural 85 back in the day. I remember the first time I tried to install them in my head, literally ripping whole hair out of my scalp because I was so frustrated, and I was like, maybe I'm not pulling hard enough, and I just kept yanking, and I literally ripped hair out of the scalp from the root that to this day still kind of gets like a little sore back there. Like, it's the most sensitive part of my scalp. Biggest con when it comes to these rollers and just the whole structure of these rollers is that, to me, these are not beginner friendly. They're not easy to install. Like, once you get a little hang of it, yes, it can be easy, and the concept is simple. Not to mention that these rollers are very dangerous. Like, I feel like there should be a liability warning. I know y'all like, dang, she just jumped right into bad stuff. She always talking negative about stuff. Let's just go ahead, let me give you the bad news first, and then we'll get to the good news. So the next con with this is absolutely this, like absolutely this thing right here. The minute that this thing, y'all saw it in the video, like, this is the most cheaply made. It's so crazy because when you get knockoffs like this, you're like, how much of a difference could it really be, like, in the plastic? They really be overpricing that stuff, and then it's just like,
maybe they don't, because that thing a pull, and that was just horrible. Why?
One of these comes in every single box, and the first one that I got, so that's what's so crazy about like this cheap stuff, because you really never know what you're gonna get. First box that I got, the one that I had, was just like you guys saw in the video. Every time I even like touched it, it would not stay on. I even like tried super gluing it, and even the super glue would not work with this thing. Like, the super glue kept ripping off, I guess because my hands were wet. But then when I got to the second box, which is this one, the original one, yeah, it's somewhere, I don't know, this one is fine. Like, it worked fine the entire time. So now for the pros, because surprisingly, I know I didn't sit here and kind of like bad mouthed them for the last 5 minutes, but I really do like these, y'all, and I really do think that these are a great dupe for the Curlformers. For $12, you get 12 Curlformers. I used 24 Curlformers in my head, and I do think that was sufficient enough for the look that I was going for. But even if you needed to buy 3 boxes of these, you're spending $36 for 36 Curlformers versus spending $70 for however many Curlformers is in that bag. I don't even remember. I'll look it up and try to include it somewhere on here on the video. Hopefully they aren't tearing up. What I will say about the name brand, before I threw them away, they did stay in perfect condition. But again, they stayed in perfect condition because I really wasn't using them. Like, I used them probably twice before I was like, you know what, my patience is not there for that. As far as dry time goes, I would just say that it is a pro and a con. It's just something that kind of washes itself out. I did sleep in these rollers. As you guys could see, I just stuffed them in a satin cap. So when I pulled my rollers out, my hair was, for the most part, dry. I was gonna say my hair was dry. I'm not even finna lie with y'all. Like, even after 24 hours, I had like a couple of rollers, not my entire head, but like 2 of them that I pulled out that were like thicker pieces were not dry. There's no real way to check to see if your hair is dry. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and if you made it all the way to the end of this video, check one more time before you leave and make sure that you're a cousin.